Hello, and good evening, and welcome to the Geeks Assembled. And this week, we are discussing a family favourite. It's a Disney classic. Oh, hold on. No, it isn't. No, sorry, got the wrong. I've jumped a week. This week, we are discussing a 1978 horror classic, the George A Romero's Dawn of the Dead. Zombies, shopping malls, soldiers, everything you want in this film. So let's go to Beefhead to see what he thinks of this film.
Yes, Dawn of the Dead, or proof that Hare Krishnas aren't reincarnated and aren't vegetarians, or the worst episode of Supermarket Sweep you're ever likely to see. It's a tremendous film, something for everyone. My favourite character, really, is the eye patch scientist, Dr. Rausch. And to be honest with you, he is my favourite character in this. Everyone does fantastic acting in it, but he's my favourite character. All the scientists are reduced, although they're trying to be reasonable, they're trying to sort of give a practical advice, but they become like children because everything has just descended into complete chaos, and they start bickering like children from the very first start of it. When you have one scientist, by the time you get to him, things have completely fallen to bits. The martial law, it just means that the rise of the rednecks, to be honest with you. So science is gone. It's just basically who's got the bigger gun. I do like this. You have with the first movie a subtext about segregation, about race and everything like that. This is actually more to do with commercialism, that you can have everything you want, but you're still locked into a prison of your own making. Them being stuck in the mall, I think, is a bit of a metaphor for that. I particularly like Ken Foree in this. He's fantastic as a strong character. As an actor of colour, also, you know, the main character in the first movie was that as well. So I like that, but then you had the introduction of a strong female character in that as well. I don't think there's really any slack to this movie. There has been lots of different versions of it. The one I watched is the director's cut. You get more of a feeling with the assault on the building where people have been relocated to, that you get the idea of the PTSD, the idea that, you know, they're at the end of their rope. Society has just broken down so far that there's no dignity in death. People are striving to hold on to something of the old ways and how things are, and you know, it's fantastically done. This is a movie that was made for $500,000, and not only does it rely on the great writing and of George Romero, but a lot has got to be said for the practical effects that Tom Savini did, who was one of the stuntmen in the movie and one of the bikers, as well as a zombie as well. He does so much with so little. $500,000. Now, the final budget of the movie, I think, was about 1.5 when everything like salaries that got deferred get taken into account. But $500,000. It was the most profitable of all three of the Dead movies. But yeah, a fantastic movie, and you get something from it every time you watch it. The music is brilliant as well. Yeah, it's a cross between 70s mixed with the sort of shop music you would get in the mall. It's tremendous. I don't want to go on too much about it because everyone else has got to say stuff.
Thanks for that, Beef. Give it a rating.
It's got to be a 9 out of 10. Yeah, I won't say 10 because yeah, I'm sure there's going to be something that will happen ultimately with zombies. But yeah. But it was the first time they did something like kid zombies and stuff like that. So it had such a, although there's comedy, there's a lot of dark and edgy moments to it, so it's a 9.
Okay, a 9 from Beefhead there. Let's move on now to Connor. Let's go to Connor, see what he thinks of this 1978 classic.
This is a really good film. Zombies, oh god, these days, it's so overdone. It's ridiculously overdone. I think everything has zombies in now, but this is getting back to the essence of the subgenre in horror, where it's really good horror, and also really good zombies. the story itself is, you know, really, really, really good. George Romero, I like how he intends to almost go too far with this film. It really is gory. It's gross in places. It's just brilliant, and also how 70s it is, like with zombies with afros and everything. It's just it just visually looks really great. As Beefhead said, you know, it really relies on the visual effects and stuff, and it's again, I think that's top-notch practical filmmaking. Before the days of CGI and everything, where you had to build everything yourself. It's just all superb. My favourite character has to be Peter Washington. He's just great. And I also like how it starts off right in the middle of the outbreak of the disease, where it's you know, it doesn't really much explore the origins of it. It just starts right in the middle of all the chaos, and then you're thrown into it, where you're going into people being shot all over the place and everything. It just really, it's great gore. It's just everything is great about this film. I think George Romero did a great job. So overall, I'll give it 8.5 out of 10.
8.5 out of 10 from Connor there. Right. We'll move along the line now, and we'll go to a young lady here who's a bit peckish, and so she's rather hungry, so we'll move on to her. Susan, what do you think?
I'm hungry. I'm so hungry. This is a good movie. I had a fun time watching it. I watched it, and then somebody bit me right here. I fell asleep for a while, and I woke up, and I'm okay now. I'm just fine. Thanks. Love all the guns in this movie. This has got so many guns. It's just amazing. I don't know. I don't like guns, but I like this movie because there's so many guns. Oh my gosh. Everybody's got a gun. Everybody's going places with their guns. It's like amazing. The gun thing in this movie is really cool. And I like the strong female character, like Beef was saying. Like, there was so much fun watching her learn how to fly a helicopter. I was like, I could do that, maybe. That's called empowerment right there. Empowerment of the dead! Oh my gosh! Anyway, I like the other thing I really liked is I liked the gore too. That was cool. Blood splattered. Heads coming off. Everybody gets shot by guns. George Romero, nice job. Pat. Good job, man. That was really cool. My favorite character, let's see, outside of that one is I'd have to say the leader of the biker gang, the one who was laughing hysterically as he was like gonna try and take over the mall. I mean, this is like mall rats. Anyway, that's fun, and they had this idyllic life going on. This really calm, sane place in the middle of, and nobody could communicate with anybody else in the way that this thing was generated. But this mall was like this idyllic place, and they were communicating and they were working through things, and they had the civilization was in the mall, and everything else around was a bit like Walking Dead in that respect. I don't know. I'm probably gonna give it an 8. I'm not exactly a fan of the genre, but it was fun to dive to it and put on this thing. Thanks. That's all I've got.
Cool. Great Susan. I mean, I love Susan. She puts her heart and soul into this. Look at that makeup there. And on to the next person who also likes to dress up. Beef Dad.
Morning. Yeah, one of the things about this film is George A. Romero actually got the idea from his friend Mark Mason, who part owned a shopping mall, and he actually owned and managed Monroeville Mall. And he explained to George A. Romero that, you know, there's lots of little corridors and hidden passages within the malls, they call it mall, not mall. And that set the seed in George A. Romero's mind for this, because he'd been looking for an idea for a sequel to Day of the Dead. Was it Day of the Dead? Yes. And yeah, I myself found the idea that in a big shopping mall like that, there's loads of secret staircases, corridors, rooms, all sorts. That fascinated me. And of course, one of the other things that inspired George A. Romero was watching the shoppers walking around in the mall like a bunch of zombies. And to be perfectly honest, for me, the best acting came from the zombie mall shoppers. They were just absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, solo actors, the reporter, the girl, Francine, loved her. I thought she was really, really good. And Susan was saying the point where she learned to drive a helicopter. I just loved that. That was just so good. It has been mentioned. For me, the standout zombie has got to be the Hare Krishna zombie. That was just an absolute piece of magic. And I remember being in the cinema, and when the Hare Krishna zombie turned up, the whole cinema just collapsed with laughter. Just a really magical moment. Yeah, it had atmosphere, but the atmosphere it had was of a shopping mall. And that was just a piece of magic. And I was just furious when the biker gang turned up. Not just because of them attacking them upstairs in their little hidey hole, but also the way they were killing off all the zombies, who really basically were just outside waiting to go in and weren't allowed to. And it all seemed a little to me. But yeah, the biker gang, yeah, it was an excellent piece of directing with them, especially the sort of cut from the bikes on the road arriving at the mall. It was superbly done. Yeah, for me, I'll go along with The Remains of My Son, and I'll give it a 9 as well.
And from Beef Dad. Brilliant. Let's go on to Craig, see what he thinks of this film.
I really enjoyed watching this film. For me, I like the soundtrack a lot. I like the soundtrack for The Return of the Living Dead Part 2 and Shaun of the Dead, so I kind of like that weird style of soundtrack. The setting was just amazing, and Romero, I mean, he's one of my favourite zombie directors. I liked how they had like a black lead actor as well, what Tim said. And I love the gore. I like the weaponry as well that they used. Like, it was good to see different weapons and stuff. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good, and it was funny in places, really gory. I love the mixture that you can get with that. And I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 from Craig there. Let's move on now to Mr. Demon Slayer. Let's listen to his words of wisdom.
Attention, shoppers! There are zombies! I guess they will look like they're full of cocaine. Anyways, this movie was definitely interesting. More zombie bashing. And even interesting characters like Peter, Francine, Steven, and Wajel. But the best part's always those biker gangs. Definitely enjoy them who's bashing zombies out there. Did anyone notice the monk zombie that appeared? That bald zombie looked a lot more like a monk, in a way. In a way, the way they looked like all blue and all that, looked more like they was on cocaine. It seemed a bit odd to me. I mean, yeah, you can see gore and blood and all that. Definitely interesting. But I don't think anyone mentioned about the guy named Tom Savoni. I think if I said his name right, who played the head biker gang, who has appeared in more horror movies in the future. Didn't he do, I think, like makeup and stuff with other horror films? He was definitely pretty interesting character, interesting villain right there. And Peter's definitely a strong point character. Definitely enjoy his character, especially just shooting the zombies and all that. Of course, we have a lot of character deaths in this one. I ain't gonna explain it, so people soon enough if they want to watch it in the movie itself. Definitely a great movie for the 1970s. Probably not one of my type of movies to watch, but I was able to watch it, enjoyed the zombie bashing, and definitely interested in my opinion. So yeah, if I was there, I'd be definitely bashing a bunch of their heads. Anyways, I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 from Mr. Demon Slayer there. And it's, it looks like it's me now. I remember watching this back in the early 80s on videotape. For an 11-year-old, sat watching one of these films, it blew your mind away, which I know I shouldn't have been watching it at that age, but hey ho. It's a classic. It's, for me, I prefer that the zombies in this movie to how they're portrayed these days. There's not a lot of special effects, and they did so well with those effects in this movie. And the grey, bluey tint of the skin, that is how a zombie should be, I think. Not what we've got now. It's a good film. I mean, the main characters, well acted. You feel for them, you get to know them. I think one of my favourites was, I can't remember his name, but nicknamed Flyboy, the helicopter pilot. I mean, but at the end you felt sorry for him because he loses everything. It's that character's brilliant. And it's the zombies, as everybody else has said, are the scene stealers with the Harry Krishna zombie. And there's also a zombie in there. Beefhead's gonna know what I'm going to say, because I'm a big fan of tank tops, and there is one zombie what always keeps appearing in the scenes. He's wearing a tank top. He's going up and down an escalator. He's pressed against a window. He's walking down the corridor, and at the end he's walking towards the helicopter. Always in that tank top. So big thumbs up to the tank top zombie. But it's people say it's classed as a classic these days. It is a bit dated now, but it's still an enjoyable watch. Yeah, it's gory. Yeah, it's as you say, it's horror genre what people aren't fond of. I mean, I'm not a big zombie fan, so I can't get into these newfangled shows. But this for me is brilliant because it brings back brilliant childhood memories of watching this. For me, it's going to get an 8 out of 10 because it's just a little bit dated now. And so I'm going to open the floor. So if anybody wants to put anything else in.
I feel a bit underdressed today.
Well, for those of you interested, body count in this movie is 93. 76 zombies to 17 humans. So zombies lose, humans win. But ultimately, this is a small skirmish in the war. For the more eagle-eyed amongst you, one of the deserting cops that you saw at the dock scene earlier on, actually shows up as the captain in Day of the Dead, the sequel that follows on from this as well. There's a couple of, we've also had a nun zombie as well. The nun zombie was supposed to get stuck in the door and dispatched, shall we say, but Romero took pity on her and just trapped her dress in the door and let her wander off free. We did have fat guy falling in a fountain. We had other half-dressed zombies falling off of balconies. So there's a lot of action-packed zombies. There were only 2 stuntmen on the film, one of them being Tom Savini and his other mate as well. So you can imagine as well, it was a very tight production that was only filmed after the this is a working mall. Monroeville was a working mall when they filmed this. So they would literally, when it shut at 10 o'clock till about 6 a.m., they would have to work. They had to stop at 6 a.m. in the morning, even though the mall didn't open till 9, because the music would start pumping through the speakers and no one knew how to turn it off. They did take a break for filming because it would have been too hard to take the Christmas decorations down every night. I'm trying to think if there's any other bits of trivia to it that I can. You do. It's a very. I think that's one of the things that I think Lee alluded to. You do have a lot more feeling and affection for this than I think with subsequent zombie, genres and everything like that, because it is a very small, confined cast. The first movie, they're all stuck in a house. It's very small and confined. You feel more of an emotional attachment to the characters. Everyone's demise in this, as the humans go, when you get to that point, both the bikers and both Peter, Stevens, it's all brought about by hubris, their own hubris, either getting too cocky. By the end of it, the bikers aren't in. The voice of the reason are Ken Foree's character and your female lead as well. They're the voices of reason in this, because this is our place. This is my possession. This is something that belongs to me. You're taking it from me, and that's how the fighting really starts. That's where the war between the bikers takes part. Getting Susan all excited with guys in leather and guns. So you do feel sad when they die, but it is ultimately their own demise that's brought about by themselves. Going back to the idea of the commercialism sort of undertone and subtext that goes with it. Ken Foree does show up on TV in the remake as well, repeating his classic line that gets attached to this movie, that when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. Or as I prefer to call it, beautiful sunny Croydon on a Saturday night.
Brilliant, that refit. This is a zombie apocalypse movie, but halfway through it, what do you get? A custard pie fight. That is just, the humour there. Just zombies walk around, smacking their face, custard pies everywhere.
There is something that appeals to the kid in this, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the idea as well. I think a lot of us, I can certainly count myself amongst it. When you're younger, you have this idea of being like the kid in the sweet shop, that you're locked up somewhere where it's closed after dark, like a shopping mall, and there's no rules, there's nothing like, you can get whatever you want, you can have everything you want, and that's the idea of sliding down the middle of the escalators, between the two, there is a fantastic amount of fun to be had in it, and then you have the peaks and troughs and everything like that. I do like the evolution of what's her name, to be honest with you, because the thing is as well, you have the idea of an adult issue, like she's pregnant, That's the reason, the motivator for them to go away. And then the discussion about, I can get rid of it for you if you want. And it does. It creates friction between it. But also, as it goes on, you notice she doesn't scream. That's her own conscious decision, because Romero asked her to scream and said she wouldn't do it because she wanted the character to come across as a strong woman. So you have to be thankful to that, because you do get that evolution of her learning to fly the helicopter. As the pregnancy goes further, you expect her to lean on a male character more. If anything, she becomes more independent, a stronger character. And actually, one other little bit of trivia, there has been disputed over the years as well that there was an alternative ending film to this. And most people, Tom Savini says it was, and George Romero is hinting at it, but he has denied it, that basically Ken Foree shoots himself and Francine chops off the top of her head on the motor blades on the helicopter. But no one really George Romero's partner didn't want a downer ending, wanted some form of hope. So that's why you've got, supposedly now, the ending that you have to the movie. Who knows, they could have survived.
It would have been a bit of a downer, that one. Anybody else? Anyone else want to say anything? You're muted, Beef Dad. I can lip read.
You talked about the makeup for it and the sort of bluey colour. And I think that's a hark back to Plague of the Zombies by Hammer Horror, because they used that sort of bluey makeup and everything, and contact lenses. There wasn't so much of the blank-eyed contact lens thing in this. You actually had zombies with eyeballs. But the colouring and the basis of it looked as though it had been lifted a bit from Plague of the Zombies by Hammer Horror, which was 1966, if I recall rightly. Yes, it was 1966. Yeah.
He was also trying to hark back to the original movie as well, that was in black and white, so trying to make the zombies look similar to what had gone in the preceding movie too.
Yeah, but they were silent zombies, so there was no difference.
Yeah.
And they weren't hungry, Susan.
And there's also early on in the movie where it's zombie hunting, in the countryside. That just made me laugh as well. They're just making a day of it.
Yeah, that's the real redneck moment, isn't it?
Well, you have that as well, but also you have the other guy in the SWAT team when they're storming the hotel and everything like that, and you have the guy that goes nuts, and he's the most sort of racist base common denominator, and he's thriving in that environment because he's just like, he's got a license to do whatever he wants. He can shoot, kill, whatever he wants, and he completely loses the plot. And you just get this idea that that scientists, the world has gone to pot basically. Scientists, the people of reason, are childed and derided, and basically the idiots are now king. So yeah,
there's an early scene in the film where the SWAT team are in the building and they bump into the priest, the one-legged priest. I've often wondered, because they was keeping the zombies in the basement, because what happened to the priest's leg? Had he been feeding the zombies?
I don't know. Yeah. I've always been wondered about that, to be honest with you. Yeah, because he's given them the last rites, and he's sort of he's trying to do everything with dignity, and people can't separate themselves from these were their families and loved ones. Yeah.
Yeah, so it just makes you think, that little scene there.
Yeah, and you don't know till he walks away, and you just see, or you think it's a crutch, but it's not. It's a falsing. Perhaps he was a pirate.
In a pirate zombies.
A pirate priest.
A pirate priest. Right. Anybody else? No. Right. I'll end that here then. I'd like to thank everybody who's joined me today in the cast. I hope you've had fun. My first time hosting. I hope I've passed the test.
You're through to boot camp.
Yay! But I hope I hope you all out there enjoyed this. Please watch this. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Join our Facebook page, and also we're on Twitter at Geeks Assembled. So until next time, have a good one. We'll see you then. Bye.
Like, comment, share, subscribe. Comments downstairs.
Oh yes, and that. Oh, last thing.